Busy afternoon, and joining us to watch it all, former QPR and Wycombe manager Gareth Ainsworth, former West Ham and Norwich striker Dean Ashton. Gents, welcome to you. Brilliant to see you as ever. Let's get into it straight away with the champions, some will say champions-elect. Man City's win over Everton. And Dean, starting with you as a former striker, how impressive was Erling Haaland with his first goals since the injury layoff?
I'm so impressed with his mentality, I am, because, you know, he had a chance against Brentford, 1v1, didn't quite take it, and it was a very similar opportunity for his second goal, and he gets it right. So it's that mentality of not letting missed chances affect him at all, even though he's been out and he's trying to find his way back. That finish is brilliant for me because it's his weaker side, and he makes it as simple as he possibly can.
Yeah.
In the way that he finishes and keeps it down. And then this is sort of simply Haaland himself and what we expect to see, which is him just bounce defenders off him, and then finishing with that quality. You were talking about De Bruyne's vision as well off there.
Yeah.
Gareth.
Yeah. I mean,
he just knows he's there on that second goal.
I mean, one of the best, if not the best player in the Premier League for me. His assists, his vision on transitions. He's just superb. Gets the ball, and you saw there, he's looked up, he's checked the whole of the pitch, he's scanned the whole of the pitch, and just picks that right ball. And we've seen him do it time after time after time. And for me, both of these players, key times, key moments, key time of the season to have them back. And I think they're going to be key to what City achieved this season. But
also, and you could tell with his celebration, Haaland pointing back towards Kevin De Bruyne, because he knows, and it's very rare actually, that as a striker, when your teammate gets the ball, a lot of the time you would have to genuinely make eye contact, or there'd have to be a hand movement just to get that connection sometimes.
Yeah, to know it's on.
There isn't. He literally just turns, puts his head down and sprints away, knowing that he's got a player in De Bruyne that's going to put it right into his path, not checking his run and trying to drag it from behind, not overextending to get the pass perfectly into his path, and then he can decide what to do from there.
There's a trust, isn't there? There's a trust.
Exactly.
There. You can just know as a striker.
Two-way street.
Go, and it's going to come. What more do you need as a striker, especially one with pace and power, as we've seen there?
Yeah, because you were more the creator, arguably, in your career, Dean. Is that, when you look at Haaland there, is it just a simple comfort he knows that he'll be found? Because you're not going to sprint full pelt on the off chance.
Didn't have any pace, that's what he's saying.
Well, to be fair, Dean was very self-deprecating before he came on, and you said you didn't have any pace. You were more the guy laying it off for Harewood and Etherington at West Ham, things like that. But what about that comfort to know you're going to be found, that you can sprint full out like that?
It is a massive difference. I mean, once De Bruyne is there, he's seen it, but Haaland's just turned and put his head down, and then he can get into a position, and then you don't have to be worrying about other things. All you're then concentrating is on the defender you're up against and then the finish. And he takes his time with this one. He maybe rushed the one against Brentford, but he took his time to slot that one past Pickford. And it just takes the guesswork out as a forward player when you've got such quality alongside you. And I wish I had a player like De Bruyne when I was playing. That would have been great.
You were the De Bruyne. That's what Teddy just said.
I wasn't.
Well, here's a look at the partnership. Kevin De Bruyne began on the bench yesterday. No shots on target for City until the 71st minute. But take a look at this. No player has provided more assists than for Haaland since the start of last season. Where does this rank, Gareth, in terms of best ever Premier League partnerships?
I mean, you're looking back to the glory years of the Uniteds and the Arsenals, Bergkamp, Henry sort of relationships, you know, and just it's just incredible. And you know, they've missed quite a few games here. You know, this isn't a full season. Imagine what they'd have with a full season. You know, just incredible what they can do. You know, and I think that combination. I think you could put De Bruyne with a few players, not just Haaland, by the way. He creates so much for everybody, you know. And I think it's key. I think it's key going forward. We talk about scoring goals. We talk about you know, we've got West Ham coming up later on, and we're talking about forwards. People keep mentioning Arsenal. Who's the forward for their City? Have this out and out forward.
We've got Saka and Martinelli in that list, who are arguably wide men, aren't they?
Both wide men, you know. And they're so that for me is huge, and I think that's going to be a huge stat for the title when it eventually comes out. I'm not saying who's going to win it, but that's going to be a huge stat for me.
10 straight wins for Man City in all competitions, Dean. 32 without defeat at home. Are we seeing a sort of a classic post-Christmas charge from Guardiola's team?
Yeah, it just happens, doesn't it? At the right time, it seems. And not necessarily you know, towards the end of the season. It's at a crucial moment when, especially Liverpool and Arsenal, have probably just felt as if this is their opportunity to maybe just put a little bit of a gap between themselves and Manchester City. And Manchester City have just put their foot down, and it's coincided with him pretty much having a fully fit squad, everybody to pick from. I mean, that forward line against Brentford was ridiculous, to consider who you had on the bench as well. And they're going to take some stopping because they know how to do it, and they're relentless in that they don't let... Everton were brilliant, absolutely brilliant yesterday in the way they defended for 50 minutes or so. But City are just so relentless in knowing that they have got the quality, they'll just continue to play, the chances will come, and if it's in the 50th minute, 70th, 95th minute, they know they're going to overcome you, and you're going to switch off at some point.
And how do you see it, Gareth, the title race? Are they just applying that pressure on Arsenal and Liverpool every time they play?
Oh, obviously, the games, the big three, I'm going to call them. You know, I think Spurs, for all the brilliance they are this season, I think probably just going to be short of that three. I think the games against each other are going to be key, absolute key, because, as Dean says, against the middle or lower teams in the Premier League, it's just a matter of time sometimes. City will probe and pass, and Arsenal will probe and pass and get... The goals will come, they will beat these sides. It's going to be those games against each other, I think, that are going to... They're going to decide this title this year. I wouldn't be able to call it, and that's great. You know, you look at... If Arsenal get the 3 points today, they're going to slot themselves right in between Liverpool and City there in second position. What a year. It's the best one we've had for a long time, the most exciting one. But who knows? In a month's time, somebody might be flying away, and it could be City with the firepower they've got. We're not even talking about some of the players they've got on the bench. You know, you Grealish, as we mentioned just before we came on air. Yeah, he's not even getting in at the moment.
Well, let's talk quickly on Grealish then. England in mind, I suppose, in the summer. Doku, powerhouse down the left yesterday. Dean, how do you see it? How sort of precarious is his position in the England squad, or at least the England team?
I think it must be really hard to be in a position where you've come from a club where you're absolutely the main man. You've then gone to City and it's taken you a little bit to settle. You then settle, and a big part and a big reason why the club wins the treble. And then they bring in Doku, who's just an outstanding player in his own right, and is playing ahead of you, playing more minutes than you. And I think it's about a strong mentality, and you have to have it at these top clubs. And if you don't, you won't last. And I think Grealish has got that. I can't see anything in his body language that looks as if he's just going to throw the towel in and cause an upset to the manager.
I mean, looking at the stats, assists, Doku's up on assists there, and actual dribbles. You know, which surprises me actually, because when you think about Jack Grealish, you think gets the ball, dribbles at people. Doku's blowing him out of the water for actually dribbles attempted, getting on that ball and dribble. So if that is what Pep wants, then he's going that way. But someone like Jack Grealish on the bench, there's not another club in the Premier League who you go, wow, he can't get a game, that team, a player of that calibre, you know. So, no, it's good mentality from Jack to stay there, patience, waiting. But as you say, the England tournaments are coming up now, the England games, he wants to be involved in that, and to do that,
well, how do you think Pep is, or do you think he's not even saying anything to Jack, or do you think it's just the whole squad know that you have to have the right mentality whether you're in the team or not?
I think you set that down as a manager without a shadow of a doubt. You set that and you accept what the manager says. But I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure that Pep must be speaking to him, and he has that personal touch. We seem to see that. You know, there's been one or two things lately in the press about a player that's come out and criticised a little bit, but I think Pep he's got that personal touch. You see it on the pitch. Klopp's got it. Arteta's got it. You know, these big three managers. Yep. So I'm sure that he's speaking to Grealish behind the scenes, saying, "Look, this is the reason." As a player, and we both played, you know, you just want honesty from your manager. If Pep's giving him honesty and saying, "This is why you're not in the team. This is what I want. You've got to do it more." As long as there's clarity there for Jack, I'm sure he's going to be delivering when he gets his chance. But Doku's taking the minutes at the moment.
They're interested with the dribbling, because the perception was that Grealish had been sort of talked out of dribbling by Guardiola, but it doesn't seem to be the case with what Doku's doing